Peace, 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 soul tribe. Yours truly, Ivory Soul's journey. Tower. What is going on, soul tribe? What's going on? We'll give everybody an opportunity. See who all available on this Tuesday evening. Before I start talking, we shall see, we shall see, we shall see. Welcome back, everybody. Now, this video is for information, confirmation, and clarification only. So, take what resonates, take what fits, take what makes you feel good, relax and let go what doesn't. Always follow your divine intuition when you're making life-changing decisions. For those that might be interested in private session for private readings, the information is in the description box of the video. If you want to support the channel, the information is also in the description box of the video. We'll see what's going on here. Revolution. Revolution. Cancerian girl. What's going on? What is going on, Cancerian girl? Cancerian girl, can you hear me pretty good? Cancerian girl, can you hear me pretty good? Let me make sure I got good audio here. Make sure we got good audio here. Make sure we got good audio here. What's up, everybody? Everybody doing all right? Hear you loud and clear. Hey, that's all I need to know. We'll kick it off with part one because I want to come back here and do whose story is this in less than an hour. I want everybody to kind of think back, if you can. And for those of you who feel like your life purpose or what you here to do, what am I here for? Is there something I need to know? All of these type, thoughts. I want you to think back few years. You don't have to go as far as, for some of y'all, you don't have to go no further than 9 years. So if you can think back in the past. So as people are coming in, I want you to start thinking about the past 9 years. Just 9 little old years. Just 9. You ain't got to go all the way back when you was a child. What's up, Kiki? The evolution of spiritual evolution, the revolution of spiritual evolution. If I was to say, if I think back for me, spiritual evolution, I would say it started taking place back in the mid-90s, because that's when I was more inquisitive. That's when I was more curious. That's when I was probably more just want to know shit. And and to be honest with me, it really started when I was just doing simple, quote unquote, biblical research. Meaning that even though I was in the pulpit, I still like to know. I've always hit that like button as you're coming in. What's up, Shamika? I still wanted to know. Okay. So I started at Genesis, and I just started researching Genesis. And it would have me up so many hours late at night, had to still work and do all that other shit, at the damn library because it wasn't no internet. Not that I need the internet to do it, it's just that you can get you a little starting point a lot faster with the internet. But if you think back, for me, it was the mid 90s. And that's when I think I started, like I said, research and then just questioning everything. Because things like, okay, everybody talks about heaven and hell. Everybody be talking about, now this is me back in the 90s now. Everybody be talking about the rapture and this is me now. I ain't talking about everybody else. I'm just talking about word on the church street, word on the Christian street, because I was a Christian in the 90s. And it was more like, that's what everybody was talking about. It can be a natural disaster, world coming to an end. It can be a natural disaster, Jesus soon to come. It can be a natural disaster, a war breakout, tribulation coming. So I says, okay then, let me start researching this shit. Now I didn't say shit back then. I can say it now though, because I know. Because why? I have spiritually evolved. And once spiritual evolution, there's usually one or the other, a Saturn return or a Jupiter return. So, if you really think about it, just go back. Just go back. For me, I've always been a very detail-oriented person. For example, let's say my little juice bar, my little vapor. I went out and researched to get as much information I knew about vaporing before I even ever bought one. But what? That's just the way I am. But we are in a spiritual revolution of spiritual evolution. This is just part one, because I got to come back and do this here. Whose story is this here at 8 o'clock? Listen, but I want y'all to think about this here shit. It's almost like you're going to always run into some form, see a spiritual awakening or spiritual evolution. You just evolving consciously, number one. And it's more, for me, I'm talking about me. Some of y'all might attest to it. Some of y'all, yours might have been different. But I remember sitting in the pulpit, looking out at the congregation like, so what really makes us do this? What makes us act like this? Okay, so we says the Holy Spirit. We says the Holy Ghost. Listen to me, folks. Or if you Muslim or Hebrew, whatever makes you feel good and say and act in ways that you normally don't act. Whatever you call that in your religion. Because in the mid-90s, when I ran across a book, I'm doing research on the sons of God. and the daughters of men. I remember preaching that sermon, the sons of God and the daughters of men. So as I'm researching this, I'm like, wait a minute. Something wrong with this picture. It took me down a rabbit hole of just going to not just your local branch library. No, I want to go to the main research center. I want to go to the university research. That's where I want to go. I remember taking a couple of classes to have access to a university library. That's just how serious I was. And when I found out, for me, when I found out that there was a heck of a lot more to know than what I knew and what we were teaching, I was like, damn. So why they ain't teaching this in Sunday school? Or why they not saying this here? Or why they don't teach this? Or why we don't say nothing about this? Or why, I don't be hearing preachers then when I was in the pulpit or now on social media. I do not hear no preachers talking about in the book of Genesis, I think the 6th chapter, the sons of God marrying, having sex, having children with the daughters of men. Now keep in mind now, according to that book, the book that I had, God wasn't from this planet. Just keep in mind now, this is me talking about me. I ain't talking about you. I ain't trying to say this is your way or what happened. But in that book that I was reading, that God of the Bible, it didn't come. He's not from this planet. In fact, his sons were not from this planet. In fact, his son that came here, that they taught us about, he even said he's not of this world and not from this planet. Whoa. I don't do free readings. So now, this just little old me back in the mid-90s. So I started thinking, damn, it's a whole lot more I need to know. I'm sitting up here, go to your little Bible seminaries and get your little papers and shit and get your little ordination. But damn, ain't nobody talking about these dudes. The sons of God having sex and marrying the daughters of men. These dudes from another planet. Anyway. So for 5 years, I'm in that pulpit researching. And before that 5-year time span was up, I already convinced me, not you, nobody else, that the story that we were told and taught, the book that we were told and taught and read, is not all the story. It's not all the story. I'm telling you. So for me, I'm like, now just keep 5 years now. I'm talking about the revolution of spirit. We're in the midst, and I'm going to talk more about it in part 2. We're in the midst of a spiritual revolution. Watch this. So I had all these pastor colleagues and partners, and I go to their church and preach, and they come to my church and preach, and we swap each other's churches for annual days. You know how it is. I go over here and do a revival. You come over here and do a revival. You go over there. You know what I'm saying? Money just passing around. So I started asking them brothers, for a pastor, y'all know how we used to talk in the church. Some of y'all still go to church. Bro, preacher. That's how we talk when a pastor talking to a pastor. Look, preacher, look, I call him doctor anything. Hey, doctor, look. That'll make him feel real important when you call him a doctor. Hey, doc, listen. You seem to be a very wise brother. I got a question to ask. What is God meaning or saying about the sons of God marrying the daughters of men, having children? And that brother couldn't elaborate too much. I'm already 5 years ahead of him. But I still wanted to know. He said, bro, preacher, I think you done went somewhere, boy, that I don't think we're gonna be able to come back from that thought. I said, yeah, you can. Don't think about it. Just go read about it. And then tell me what's your interpretation of what's being said. So that let me know right then and there, back then in the mid-90s, that we had two lineages. You had two families. Who were those two family and lineages? You had your 3D physical portal traveling family. You call your mama, your daddy, your sisters, your brother. That is your earthly family. But you got to figure out, you got to take into consideration now the sons of God. They not from this planet. And the daughters of men. So however many, read what it say. So they was having children and marrying. That's a cosmic. You have an astrological or a cosmic family. DNA lineage. That takes you to other planets. Now let's stop right there for a second. Let's fast forward. Just for the sake of time. We'll come back and talk about it a little bit more. Check this here out. In this here evolution, this spiritual revolution, because that's what we're experiencing right now, a spiritual revolution. People are thinking more outside of the box than at any time in human history. During the age of Pisces, fish, which don't mean what you think it means. Now, you can go do your research, or you may already know. That's fine. I'm not here to debate that. But we're no longer in the age of Pisces, quote unquote. You're in the age of Aquarius. But Aquarius is not a water element. It is the bridge between air and water. Consciousness and spirit. Man, I don't know who. The fifth dimension, earth, wind, and fire, just off the top of my head. I can remember as a child, so many people, musical artists, there was quite a few of them, singing, writing, and talking about the age of Aquarius. Now we see with social media, one thing that they didn't factor into social media or AI, all right, is the nanoparticles that is released. If you don't know, I'm not going to go into it all. You're talking about a lot of years of research and knowledge. But anyway, so the nanoparticles, this is odorless particles, whether you call it ingress or egress, RF signals or nanoparticles. Listen to me. These chemicals that's released into the atmosphere, it's odorless. You can't see it, you can't smell it. I can show it to you. But the reason why I'm bringing this here up is because AI, where you and I are right now, what they did not configure was the fact that telecommunications, AI, social media, that so many people like myself that they didn't give an account of, and millions of others before social media was already going through this here conscious awareness. This is the breakdown and the teardown of the mind, of the thoughts, meaning that just not the left hemisphere of the brain, but the right side as well, right? To whereas the 90-some% that's untapped and untouched. And then once you come into the realization that that sixth sense, the sense of thought, that they did not want you to account for. They wanted you to know that you had five senses. They didn't want you to talk about the sixth sense of thought. Because the moment you begin to think, nothing else, I'm not going to change my mind. I'm not going to go to the left or right, but I'm just going to think. You activate a serotonin chemical. And it's through this chemical, this serotonin, that the same chemical in your pineal, it activates it. And it's almost like a light bulb comes on. So I've been over here, chilling over here for lifetimes by utilizing 3 to 4% of my brain. Now I'm tapped in to this other 90-some%. And I'm loving it. And that was back in the 90s. Tarot is part of the spiritual revolution and spiritual evolution. Yeah, I said it, tarot. Tarot, yeah, it's a form of divination. But if you just go back 9 years, just nine. You ain't got to go a long way back, just 9. Just go back 9 years. And if you're honest with yourself, those of you who knew about tarot, you didn't see it on TV. You used to watch a little bit of it on TV back in the day with Sister Cleo and maybe one or two other people. But we were taught that form of divination, just like religion is a form of divination. We're all divine beings. I can't say what's evil and what's not. I can say what is low vibrational or negative, but I can't say what's evil and what's not. But you know and I know that it was once told to us that it was evil. But 90% of my clients are all religious, of all different races or ethnicity, cultures, nationalities, religion. And that number one out of all of them are what I used to classify myself as a Christian, which you're really just Paulinians and not Christians. Whole nother video. I started telling people back in the 90s how that one day more and more people will be leaving the church. I used to say this here in the elders conference where it's just a lot of preachers. And I used to say, okay, pastors, leaders, so what are we going to do? What spiritual strategies do we have that's going to offset what we're going to be confronted with in the future? And that is more and more people questioning what they are being told by us. The whole room went quiet. What do you mean, bro, preacher? I said, there's going to come a time. But I'm speaking not so much over their heads or in codes, but they haven't factored in the knowledge and the information before Christianity. The knowledge and the information before Islam. The knowledge and the information before Hebrew or Judaism. Because we can't keep teaching people that this earth started, as far as from a human standpoint, with two people in a garden. And if we keep teaching this, at some point in time, unlike me, bro preachers, people are going to start researching about Adam and Eve. And they may come across some information that proves that they're not that they've come to the conclusion that they were not the first two human beings, nor the skin tone that we are being presented with has nothing to do with race. And from that day forward, from that time frame forward in the mid-90s, I had more and more pastors that will want me to come and teach at their facilities and not preach. Because why? I started telling them, I'm not really a preacher. You're not a preacher. Then there go the controversy. So at some point in time, by choice, I isolated myself. I just stopped going to events. Why? I can feel that there was a spiritual revolution taking place in my consciousness. So my perception of the reality that was given to me, taught to me, I'm reading about had started to change. It's like that hangman, where you get, when the hangman is just hanging there and it looks like he's upside down or she's upside down. Well, there's a light that comes on. Because if I'm upright, I see things from this perspective, from this view. But if I'm upside down, I got a totally different view or a totally different perspective. It's kind of like looking at both sides of the story, or looking at a story or situation from a hangman position with wisdom and a little bit deeper. No judgment. That's why some people will tell you in that energy that somebody has a totally different perspective of you now. They see you different. That's evolution. That's spiritual or conscious evolution, which is part of the spiritual revolution. There's going to be more and more sweeping spiritual revolution on this planet. And like I told those pastors back in the mid-90s, now, if you just go back 9 years, look at how many people now question what they believe and what they're being taught in these religious institutions. It has to go through a change, just like the planet, the governments, world leaders, war, everything and everybody is going to be smacked with this same spiritual revolution. And now more and more people have left the church, have left the mosque, has left the temples. And it's not like they're going to other places. No, they're going here. And this is where they're hanging out at. This is where they're spending their time, their tithing, their offerings. They're investing into themselves. And that is a threat to religious institutions. So people like me, when I used to stand up and do public events after leaving the church in 1999, then I started having these same people in other words, when I was doing street preaching, for those who know what street preaching is, you just go and get you a little podium and get you a little amplified, get you a mic, and don't bring your Bible. Just bring your little pocket New Testament songs. And you just go to talking. All people would drive by, blow their horn. God bless you, brother. You know, da 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 da. And as soon as you start talking about something totally different that they cannot relate to, you the devil. You going to hell. Da 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 da. Then every night, and then one time, not every night, then one time, pow pow up and shot up in the sky. All right, then they don't want me out here talking about. Let me take this shit inside somewhere. And I started getting doors closed, but then more doors. So then when social media came in, and my uncle hit me up one day and he was like, nephew, you really need to be on social media. Man, it took me about a year, but when I got on social media back in the end of 2015, and I got on there, and it was everything that I thought. Man, what the hell these people? Because I'm not blind, I'm not dumb, I'm not green. I would hear stories of people at work talking about each other cheating. I mean, what do you mean cheating? Yeah, he met somebody on social media. Or, yeah, she met somebody on social media. Social media? What do you mean meet somebody on social media? Next thing you know, folks' whole marriages, whole life, whole families breaking up because of devices, because of a virtual person like we're right here, right now. So now, when you think in terms of the church, more and more people are leaving the church, not because they hated this or that or the other. It's just that they cannot prove what you're teaching. And in this age of Aquarius, this age of awakening, this age of cleanse, this age of spiritual consciousness, this age of evolution, people want the facts. They want the truth. They want evidence. They want receipts. And when you can't provide this, then people like, well, damn, if you hide this, what else you hide? Most people don't even know, like I didn't, that there's so many books missing from the Bible. Most people don't even know that it was a quote unquote melanated man that looks like me that's responsible for what you call Islam. Most people don't even know that the first pope was quote unquote a melanated man that looks like me and you. Most people don't know that the story of Mary and Jesus and Joseph, these was melanated people that look like me and you. So why did they have to change the complexion in the books and then rewrite the stories, change the names and the locations? That's what people are questioning now. A spiritual awakening can really feel like a dark night of the soul. And most people who go through these spiritual awakenings over time, you have or you will experience a dark night of the soul, because you got to go back, not only unlearn what you've been taught, you got to regurgitate that. Then as far as what you believe, how you live, things about you. Not a dark night of the soul because of some damn body else. No, dark night of your soul. That's when you get reintroduced to the core you, the essence, the source of you, your soul. Because your soul is going to talk to you different than the way your ego and other people talk to you. It's going to talk to you about a journey, a purpose, a mission, and it's going to show you some things about you in previous lifetimes. And once that takes place, and you start this new journey, it's because of the evolution of spiritual revolution. Switch it up. We're in the midst of a spiritual revolution, of spiritual evolution. And this shit feels good. In the near future, these next 2 months is going to be crucial for governments, institutions, that institution that includes religions. But the next 2 months, there's going to be some major shakeups. Shakeups. Because by the time we enter back for the next 20 years with quote unquote Pluto at the helm to 2043, 2044. I like to give people planetary timelines. I ain't got to look no goddamn news. I don't even need to know, whole nother story, whole nother conversation. But tarot is part of the spiritual revolution. Now that you got over 500 million people every week worldwide watching tarot online, there has to be a reason why 500 million people, 500 million people every week watches tarot from somewhere around the world. There has to be a reason why more people know about practitioners, spell work, and people sending negative energies and people doing all kinds of shit for the first time they know within the past 9 years. More people have closed out past life cycles and cycles in this lifetime. More people have closed out cycles in the past 9 years than since you've been coming here as a human in previous lifetimes. This lifetime and within the past 9 years. And it's just going to spread like wildfire. There's nothing nobody can do. You don't have to change shit. Just stay where you are, because there's also what is called a forced awakening. There's going to be some things. There's going to be some events. There's going to be some things you're going to see and shit you're going to see and you're going to hear and you're going to smell and you're going to taste, whatever. And it's going to force you to change your thought process. And once you dab into the sixth sense thought, ain't no turning back. I don't care if people are religious. I don't care if people running around here talking about Hotep, Ashe, whatever they say. That's spiritual revolution. It's going to hit everybody like a ton of bricks. Because when you start seeing things, again, hearing things, feeling things, whether you dreaming or not, in the sky, around you, yeah, visitations. That's when we're going to start seeing things change. All right, we'll be back here in 10 minutes. Whose story is this? What's going on? I don't know what's the gathering. I don't know who's gathering and who's doing the gathering. I'm not on no gathering. I understand that, but I don't know nothing what nobody say. But it's nothing that I mean, shit that when I first came to social media, a lot of things that I was sharing with people were like, and some just couldn't grasp it. Now that's 2015, 2016. Now, a lot of the shit that I was saying when I first came to social media that I already knew before social media, now everybody's talking about it. Kudos. I like that shit. I don't care when people use things that I may have said and use it and twist it and break it. I don't give a damn. People come here and get titles for their little tarot. I don't care. That shit don't bother me. Spread the word. But our perception, many of us, our perception has really changed. And if it hasn't, you're going to get swept up in this spiritual revolution. I promise you. Some people will come, they still go to church. They still go to the mosque. They still go to the temple. But then they'll come and watch tarot and get readings and go get people to read poems and do other kind of shit, right? But then behind the pulpit or at the church or at these temples, it's evil. So they want to be up in there and they got a little more knowledge about some shit, but they're going to tell you that it's evil so that they can use it from a deceptive standpoint to their advantage. I'm just being honest. I'm just giving it to you from perspective from, hell, you can say from the pulpit to the street to the whatever. Been there, done it. But I tell you this one thing, they're not going to be able to stop what the multiverse is spewing out. You can't stop it because if you think 9 years ago, a lot of y'all, come on now, some of y'all just a couple years ago, some of y'all a year ago, some of y'all never ever really knew anything about no tarot, no high priestess, no empresses, no none of that. You didn't know. And then you were gravitated and drawn to it. Why? Because it's a form of divination. Just like people are drawn to go somewhere to a building and worship and give money and support. A lot of y'all, when you first came and started watching tarot, you had a reason. First, you didn't have a reason because you didn't even know anything about it. And then you saw a title across the screen or whatever, wherever you saw it at. You said, wait a minute, I'm a Gemini. Let me see what they talking about. And as soon as you start hearing about that you saw that Gemini reading, and you said, damn. And then you scroll down and you says, okay, then, damn, what are they talking about? Sun, moon, rising, and Venus. What are they talking about? A birth chart. Why are they talking about natal chart? What's a natal? What's Akashic records? And you just got out of curiosity. That's that sixth sense of thought. You started thinking. And then you start, wait a minute. I'm a Gemini, but damn, this damn Pisces story reading sounds just like my situation. Then you realize you got a Pisces moon or Pisces rising, right? Pisces Venus or whatever. And you start putting two and two together. And you start seeing shit play out. And you be like, oh my goodness. So all this time that they've been telling us this is evil, ain't nothing evil about these cards with some animated pictures on them. That's all the devil. But these are the damn devils that's out here doing this shit. Make that shit make sense. I wish the preacher would come. I don't know any bold enough that know me. A stranger, they don't stand a chance, but that know me, that's gonna come and tell me, Ivory, you evil, man. You going to hell. They know, don't talk to him like that. He know a whole lot. Cause see, some people think that I ain't been this and I ain't been this. They don't know. Man, look, listen. I used to be like that. The jewelry, the suited and booted, but I wasn't a hypocrite. Never. I was real. So real that I went out and researched what I'm teaching. So that I ain't sit at no master's feet, no feet. I ain't do this. Nope. Me, my God's spirit, source, universe, omniverse, period. mixed in with a few little planets. And that shit started making sense. I was like, shit. Let me get on out of here. We got another video to do. Be right back. Peace.